Welcome to the Super Expander podcast. My name is Corrine Phelps, your host. I'm a business and growth coach, money mindset expert, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. My journey has taken me all over, from working in finance to owning a boutique fitness studio. I found myself burnt out, miserable, and questioning everything. Saying things to myself like, there's got to be more to life than this. Refusing to settle for a mediocre existence, I went all in, learning how to harness untapped potential and rewire the subconscious mind to create an extraordinary life. The last 10 years have been a crash course in self-love, building a business, creating community, building wealth, and doing what it takes to just freaking go for it. My mission is to help you align to your purpose, rewire your subconscious to support your big dreams and vision, and create a life that you're absolutely obsessed with. So sit back, tune in, and prepare to expand. Hello, super expanders. How are you doing today? I feel like I think I may actually say this every time I sit down to record a session for you, or I had a thought and I make a note in my phone that it's something I want to speak to you about. It really lights me up. Being able to share these insights and things with you truly is, I think, one of my most favorite things. So excited to dive in deep today, or a little deeper into flow state. So this is something that's been coming up a lot, both here on the podcast, and if you're on my email list or on my social media channels, you probably are like, what the heck? You are obsessed with flow state. And it's true. It's true. And I'm going to share with you why today. So I'm going to share 10 things that have literally shifted in my life since I learned how to drop into flow state on demand. And I'm sharing them with you because I want you to really see the power of what being able to access this really can do for you, for your life, for your business. So flow state, really summed up, I believe, is the path. It's the secret. It's the skill to creating anything that you want in life. And I know it actually probably sounds a little bit like magic, but there's loads of science, loads of research supporting this. So kind of like a recap, if this is the first time you're catching an episode, or it's the first time you're hearing flow state. Flow state is often really described as that feeling of being in the zone. And you have most definitely experienced it at some point in your life. Although until recently, being able to find ways to drop into it has been almost this elusive feeling. So this feeling of being in the zone is a mental state of clarity when you're performing an activity and you're fully immersed. And it's a feeling that energizes you. You have full involvement and enjoyment in the process. Creativity is through the roof. So answers, insights, solutions flow to you with absolute ease. Fear does not exist in this space because you're so grounded in the present. And the truth about fear is that fear is something that is rooted in our past experiences. And when we're experiencing it in regards to the future, it's typically due to something that has happened in our past. So it's a projection of something that we think is going to happen in the future, but it's not necessarily true. It's a story that we are making up, and it keeps us stuck in one way of thinking. It keeps us stuck from moving forward and taking action, ultimately hindering us from creating big things, taking action on things in our life that would bring us a lot of happiness and joy and progress and wealth and all the things. So being grounded in the present is kind of the secret to getting rid of fear, being so present in what is going on in the moment that you allow your ego to just melt away. Yeah. And when you really start to think about this, flow state is something that is chased by many and harnessed by few. It's something that top performers, athletes, CEOs all know. And when you start to really think about the most magnetic people in the world, they all know how to access this state. In fact, some of the things that you spend the most money on are to watch people who are in a state of flow. Think about it. The last professional sporting event that you attended is truly, it's athletes in flow. The last concert that you attended is a performing artist at the dropping into flow state and exhibiting their talents and gifts in flow state. The last movie you watched, actors literally in flow, dropping in and showing up in like the best element of their performance, of their craft. And you can see why this would be a really powerful, potent skill to be able to harness. And the good news is that you do not have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be a professional athlete in order to tap into this power. So the most recent way that I have discovered to be able to really drop into this on demand is through hypnobreathwork. And it's highly unlikely that this is the first time you're hearing me talk about hypnobreathwork, but I'm going to really explain the science behind how it allows us to drop into flow state. So to drop into flow, we need a few things, and you need to be active in your state. So it's not a passive situation. It's not like meditation and falling asleep. It comes from an active focus and an active challenge of skill merging together. So inside of hypnobreathwork, we can accelerate this process through oxygenating the blood. And when this happens, what happens is it goes in and it turns off parts of your prefrontal cortex, and it turns on and stimulates other parts of the brain, allowing us to drop into this elusive state of flow on demand. And it's been said and found through research that inside of flow state is where like actually true real happiness exists, because inside of this place we're actually actively being challenged. So we're accessing creativity, solving problems, living in our zone of genius, connecting to our purpose and our internal wisdom, all fueled by intrinsic internal motivations. Yes, so it's not outside forces that are driving us, which when outside forces drive us, typically things like comparison and discontentment actually start to seep in. But when we're connecting to our real, true purpose is when happiness, love, gratitude emerge at the highest level. So since being able to harness this power, since learning this skill of how to connect to flow state through hypnobreathwork, I recently sat down and I made a list of the top things that have shifted and I've experienced in my life. There's many, many other things, but I'm going to share the top 10 things that have occurred since tapping into this power. I have a question for you. Have you joined the Super Expander free mentorship community? If not, what are you waiting for? Stop what you're doing right now and text the word mentor to 202-918-3235. Text the word mentor to 202-918-3235. I send out weekly tips and inspiration to help you grow your business, to step into your wealthiest, most highest self, to harness your full potential and live an exceptional and extraordinary life. And the best part is it's really me sending those messages. So text me, say hello, and send me your questions. So the first really, really big one was I actually was able to invest over $100,000 in 4 separate female-led businesses. And why this is a huge thing is because it's been something that I had been wanting to do for a long time, was to really start expanding my portfolio, to invest more money to grow my wealth, but also do so in, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't call it an unconventional way, but not necessarily in the stock market. So diversifying. And it was really important to me to be able to do so through female-led businesses. It's something that's really important to me. But these were big investments. They were like scary unknowns. I mean, when you're investing in startups, there's really no guarantee. So you have to be able to look at what your intuition is telling you about where this company is headed, what the possibility is, and just connect to this like deep inner trust. And I was able to do that through hypnobreathwork. And on the other side, I invested in 4 separate companies, and I moved through fear and not allowing my logical mind to talk me out of what my intuitive wisdom was telling me. Next, I have since experiencing and learning how to tap into this power, been able to recall and tap into what I believe is the deepest form of love and gratitude. And the first time I ever experienced that level of love and gratitude was when I gave birth to Jordan, my daughter. It was the first time I had fully felt it inside of me, the first time I'd really experienced it. And until I went through and I was actually in my hypnobreathwork certification, one of the sessions, that was the experience I had. I was like, wow, I remember this vividly, this feeling that the moment I had her, the moment I gave birth to Jordan, this is exactly how I felt. And at the end of a hypnobreathwork session, deep in flow state, I had these same feelings. And I was so blown out of the water. And since that particular session, I have been able to re-tap into that feeling on multiple different occasions when in flow state. Next, I launched this podcast. I launched the Super Expander podcast. And if you have heard me talking about this before, launching this podcast was something that had been on my mind for a really long time, actually. I had ordered the mic, which I'm speaking to you through right now, my Yeti, my Blue Yeti mic, and it sat in a box underneath of my desk for at least a year. And then I took it out of the box finally, and I set it on my desk, and it sat there continuously for months and months and months. And then in a breathwork session, deep in flow state, the name of the podcast came to me, and literally the courage to just leap into intuitive action and make it happen. And here we are. I think we're more than 50 episodes in. I haven't missed an episode. We're dropping twice a week. I've had the opportunity to speak to some amazing people and grow this community all the while, all because of flow state and hypnobreathwork, being able to tap into this. So another thing that has happened that's been monumental is really being able to tap into my creativity to show up and create content for this podcast, content for social media, content for podcasts. And if you are someone listening that creates content, then you know coming up with new, fresh ideas, way to speak about it is not always the easiest thing. Not only that, it's having the courage to show up and not be attached to whether people love it or not. Like, know that what you're sharing is of such value. All a result of being able to clear out the blocks that I have through breath work to drop into flow state and literally have this deep connection to creativity. Having this resource has also led me to be able to eliminate fear and flex this muscle of taking daily intuitive action. And I believe that intuitive action taken daily is the differentiator between those that are doing really big things and those that are sitting on the sideline observing, desiring to do big things, because stacking these actions day in and day out really truly does add up to huge momentum, huge progress. While it might not feel like it in the moment, and oftentimes these intuitive aligned actions that we're taking seem to make no sense in the moment. And what's required of us is to be able to just trust that we will be able to connect the dots at some point when we are looking in the rearview mirror. I have also gone through some really deep inner child work that I continue to access a connection to my inner child. I'm able to send her love and gratitude and hugs when needed. And she is able to connect with me here in this like real 3D world and keep my heart open, my mind open, and really allow me to operate from a beginner's mind, which I actually think is one of the most powerful things that someone who is in a leadership role, who is evolving in their emotional intelligence, is able to do, is really show up humbly from a place of really being a beginner. I'm also connected to something I feel like I've really been searching for, I guess, my entire life, which is what my real true purpose is. And that is to really support other people in connecting to their purpose, accessing this resource of flow state to be able to operate at their highest potential. Nothing lights me up more than watching someone shine, watching them create things that others thought were impossible, because they have tapped into their purpose and their power. And through this, what I really think is happening is there is an undercurrent of the world changing. There is an undercurrent of the consciousness and the collective shifting as people start to live in their purpose and their talents and their gifts. And last but not least, if I had not had access to this work, I would have absolutely scrapped my last program launch. And if my mentors and my coaches are listening to this, then they will know, because they talked me off the edge. They pushed me to access this deeper purpose. They pushed me to connect with flow state in order to keep moving through the things that were showing up for me. So in the middle of my launch, I was certain that it was failing, that I should cancel it, that I didn't have enough signups, that there wasn't going to actually be a program to run. And I was like, I should just cancel it. And I was able to push through, work through the things that I needed to work through. And on the other side of that, not only do I have a program with 9 people inside of it right now, actively running, I turned what I thought was a failure into $53,000. And if that is not proof that accessing flow state is something that you want to learn how to do, I'm not sure what will convince you. So after that laundry list of things, all 10 of those things that I just shared with you, I want you to really imagine what it is that you could create with that power, with that skill. As long as you're not driving a car, I really want you to take a moment and close your eyes and take a big, full, deep breath in, and exhale, let it go. And start to let your imagination run wild with what you could do if you had access to this skill. Literally, the sky is not even the limit when you know how to access this work on demand, when you know how to access this power, this skill, this secret, this superpower of flow state. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to let your imagination run wild. I want you to grab a notebook And I want you to write down your vision of what you could create if you had access to this work. And then what I want you to do is to text me the word flow. Text the word flow to 202-918-3235, and I am going to send you a very special gift from me. You can also find that link down in the show notes. Text the word flow to receive your very special free gift. If you like what you heard, stop, drop, and leave a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And as always, sharing is caring, so snap a pic and share this episode with another super expander.